Hello everyone. In our previous session, we have seen what kind of responsibilities a business has towards its owners as well as workers or employees. Now, in this session, we will cover up what are other responsibilities of business towards consumers and other interested parties. Now, today we will first talk about responsibilities of business towards consumers and customers. Now, Peter F. Drucker rightly views that the customers are the foundation stone of business. According to him, the business world revolves around customers, means they are the foundation stone of any business. The ultimate end of the business operation is to achieve maximum profit. Now, as we know that businesses main motive should be to earn profit, maximum profit, but they can achieve that through selling goods and services to the consumers or customers, and it is only possible if they provide maximum satisfaction to the customer. Until and unless a customer is not satisfied, he will not repurchase a product of any business. So they have social obligation or some social responsibilities towards consumers. Now, what are those? Let us see. Point number one is need based production. The business should produce only those commodities which are needed by consumers. Now, if a business produces anything which is not desired or which is not wanted by the consumers, then the business will not thrive. They have to shut it down eventually. Goods must be according to the expectations and aspirations of the customers. Now, simply just producing any goods is not enough. They have to see whether the goods that they have produced, whether it is able to satisfy the expectation or whether it is up to the standards that a customer wants in his good or not. In other words, it should have certain utility, means it should have some use to the customer. So a business, what they have to do is that they have to understand the need of customer, and based on that need they have to produce goods. The next is producing sufficient quantity of goods. The customer should not be exploited with insufficient production. The shortage of goods creates black marketing. Now, when goods demanded by a customer is not available in the market, and if a customer needs it very badly, then what it will lead to is that it will lead to black marketing. Means he will surely become reluctant to pay any much amount of money to buy that particular thing. So as a social service towards customer, a business should not take advantage of that opportunity. Okay, means like a business, they should not do such thing. They should not means exploit the customer by producing less amount or less quantity of goods. Means it is therefore obligatory on the business to use its full available capacity to produce goods and never create artificial scarcity. Means even if they don't have resources to produce that particular kind of product, then it is acceptable. But even if a business has all the resources to make goods, but still they are taking opportunity by creating artificial scarcity, then it is nothing but exploitation of the customer. So as a business has social responsibility towards customer, they should not create that kind of situation. Then third is supplying goods at reasonable price. Every business aims at producing goods at the minimum cost. Means they try to produce any good with less amount of expenses, but that doesn't mean that they can charge any amount from the customer. It should also supply goods to the consumer at reasonable price. The business should not take undue advantages of its upper hand in case of supplying commodities. The price of the commodity must be reasonable and competitive. Means just because a business have ability to produce any particular goods, they should not charge higher rate of amount from the customer. So there should be a proper balance or proper relation between the cost of producing that product and the selling price of that product. Then fourth is appropriate distribution. Simply just producing is not enough. The business, they have to see whether their product are evenly distributed or evenly available all over the country or all over the place. The producers and manufacturers should make their goods and services available at appropriate places and times so that customers may not face more difficulties in acquiring. Means business should try to make consumer reach their product as easily as possible. The increase in the number of middlemen will increase the price. The channels of distribution must be sufficient to maintain the smooth supply of goods to customer. Means if they include more middlemen, more agents, more wholesalers and all, then they will be able to give, or the business will be able to provide their product to the far-flung areas. But it will also increase to the price of the good. Means since they are spending more on channel of distribution, they are going to eventually increase the price of the commodity. So business, what they have to see is that their chain of distribution should be appropriate, or should be sufficient enough to make the product available to their customers at a reasonable price. Then last is supplying pure commodities. All the goods produced and manufactured by the business should have utility to customers. Earlier we saw that only the product which is needed or which is wanted by the customer should be produced by the business. It should be pure and unadulterated. Means those goods should be pure. There should not be any defect from the manufacturer point of view. This good should never be harmful to human being. It will be fatal to the existence of mankind if there is adulteration in medicines. Suppose if there is wrong, if the producer or the manufacturer of good like medicine makes adulteration or mixes anything which is harmful to human being or any edible articles, then it is nothing but against the against human policy, or you can say again it is violating the right. They are doing nothing but they are creating problem for the health issues of customers. So a business should not commit such crime in knowing if there is any wrong done by the businesses, then they are liable for compensating the loss of any customer. The honest businessmen should keep themselves off from, they should not do duplicate, or they should not imitate any other business or adulteration. We may now safely conclude that the business has an obligation to supply sufficient quantity of standard commodities at reasonable rates and at appropriate place. The importance of customer in the business has been recognized and accepted by everyone. Some of the important views given by some famous personalities are given below. So then next, let us see what are the responsibilities of business towards government. Now their first and foremost responsibility is to follow all the laws that government has created. The business should be a legal entity. Means we knew that a business should not indulge in any illegal activity, so it should be an legal entity. It should abide, means they should follow all the laws of the nation. It must honor the constitution and provisions of different acts. The next is not to corrupt government employees. Means a business should not try to bribe any government employee to make some errand for the business or to get some documentations from the government offices. Then next is promoting fair trade practices. The business should be well behaved and honest in their dealings. They should supply pure commodities and always go on improving the qualities of the products. They should not indulge in leg pulling of one another. Means in order to increase their sales, they should not pull leg of their competitor, but they should try to improve the quality of their own products. Healthy trade practices are necessary to upkeep. Means there are certain health practices or health standards created by the government. So business who are involved in producing eatables or edible goods, then they have to follow all those health practices. the prestige of the country in international trade. The next is no duplication, imitation, and adulteration. Now, it is against the national activity if any business tries to duplicate, imitate other company or other brands, as well as if they try to do anything wrong for it means like as we have earlier talked about medicine. If there is any suspicious activities going on in pharmaceutical companies, then it is nothing but it is an anti-national activity, so a business should not indulge in this kind of activities. Then next is not to purchase political supports. In order to gain favor from any political party, they should not try to bribe any political parties just because to gain advantage against their competitors. The big business houses should not purchase the members of parliament and assemblies to meet their selfish ends. Such activities are harmful to the nation. The next is honest payment of government taxes. Every individual or every business enterprises, they pay tax to the government, so they should try to be honest with the government while paying those taxes. The business houses should be sincere and honest in the calculation and payment of income tax, sales tax, and other types of taxes like GST and all. They should be honest with the government. And lastly, participation in the public life of the country. The business should help in the implementation of government policies. Now, various policies are developed by the government, so a business should help in implementing those government policies. It becomes the moral duty of the business to obey the different laws of the land and advise others to honor the laws. It should be the sincere effort of the business to establish and maintain peace in the country. As a business has to run within the society, within the country, so they have to maintain peace in the country, as well as they try to help the government also in maintaining peace in the country. The next is there are various responsibilities of business towards community and general public. Let us see what are those. Now, first is providing employment to local community. Since a business is started or established among the community, so they try to provide employment to the local youth. The business has its first responsibility towards the locality where it is situated. It should accord priority in the matters of employment to persons of the community. Suppose if a business is set up in a very rural area, then they should try to provide employment to the people of that particular area. That is one of the social responsibility of business towards that community. Then next is promoting social schemes. The business should assume the responsibility for the education, medical treatment, and housing accommodation to the inhabitants of the community. It should also cooperate other agencies in providing these facilities to the community. The next is not fouling atmosphere. Means a business should not indulge in producing any kind of smoke, dust, dirt, waste, and scraps, etc. And they should not try to pollute the environment of that particular area. Then helping helpless. The local needy, poor, handicapped, and economically backward people should be sympathetically accommodated. Now, in government employment, we have seen that there are several reserved quotas for physically handicapped and other types of handicapped person. Just like that, nowadays businesses also they have to provide job to those need like handicapped or economically backward people of that particular area where it is situated. They should be provided with jobs or training. It is the social obligation of the business to accommodate these types of people on humanitarian ground. The next is rehabilitating displaced persons. It is the moral duty of the business to provide employment to displaced persons. It should also try to solve their residential problems. Suppose if for setting up a business they had to displace or they had to move some person from that particular area, then it is the duty of business to look after those displaced person as well as to provide them with housing and other accommodation. The next is cooperating in the development programs of the community. Now there are various schemes or various programs formed for developing a particular area. So as a part of that particular area, business has to see whether they have to take part in those developmental programs. It will be highly appreciated if the business adopts the villages or towns where it is located and assumes responsibility for the development of the community. In case the business cannot develop the locality all alone, it should assist other social and national agencies in their programs for the development of the community. Suppose if a business is not able to directly help those people, then they should help other social or other agencies in doing that. Then the last one is efficient use in the community's resources. The business should make its best efforts to make the best possible use of the raw material, tools and technique available in the community. The business should try to develop and assist in developing the local resources, means they should try to produce local resources and using those resources in their business. The unutilized resources should also be put to uses, means if there is any particular resources available in a place and which is not utilized by anyone, then the business they should try to utilize those resources and try to help the community by purchasing those resources from there. Now these were some responsibilities of a business towards the different interest groups in the country. So in our next session we will be discussing the rest of the topics. For today's session we will wind up here. Thank you.